This is an Aero race bike, a road bike designed to slice through the air with minimal drag. If you want to ride fast, this is a bike for you. And today I'm going to share 6 of the best Aero race bikes you can buy right now in 2024. This is your shortlist for choosing a new road bike. Right, let's dive in. So let's kick things off with a Canyon Aeroad, available in 3 levels at different prices, and the choice of one of the best riders in the world right now, Mathieu van der Poel. It's a bike that can cope with the rigours of Paris-Roubaix and the demands of a Tour de France. Good enough for the best riders in the world and good enough for you and I. And it's no wonder it's been a very popular choice in the Aero road bike category for the last few years. It's a bike that delivers impressive speed, fantastic handling. You build up pretty light depending on your budget. And when I rode it a few years ago, the smoothness, the comfort and compliance really impressed as well. Especially considering how big an Aero, the down tube, the head tube and the seat tube are on this bike. And thankfully the issues with the seat tube and seat post and the handlebar for the last few years are now well behind them, and the new bike is a solid, reliable choice. And the Aeroad is a great example of a bike built purely to be as aerodynamic as possible. Not an all-round one bike to do everything. It's aerodynamics first and foremost, and as such it isn't the lightest bike in the world in this Aero category at least. And while Canyon does offer excellent value for money, you get good components, wheels, tyres and branded components on these bikes. The cheapest model starts from nearly £4,000 here in the UK. It's not the most accessible if you want a nice entry-level race bike. While the Canyon Aeroad is a pure Aero race bike, aerodynamics first and foremost, the new specialised Tarmac SL8 is one of a growing number of a category of lightweight and aerodynamic race bikes, trying to trade in some of that outright speed for a bit of lower weight. It might not be the most aero bike in the category, but certainly a lot lighter than the other bikes in this video. And some people will happily trade in a bit of speed in terms of aerodynamics for a low weight on the climbs, especially if you live somewhere hilly. So the Tarmac SL8 offers an amazing combination of weight and speed, and when I rode it earlier this year, it really impressed. In fact, it blew my socks clean off. One of the best riding Aero race bike you can buy right now in my humble opinion. But it is an expensive bike. You definitely pay a premium for a specialised, especially if it has S-Works on the down tube. But you get great equipment. They make good parts like handlebars, saddles and even bar tape, and their own tyres and wheels are top-notch high quality indeed. The ability of the bike to really smooth out rough roads and potholes and cobbles is very impressive. So you are getting a bike that's easy to live with whether you're racing, which is riding for fun and speed, and you want a bike that won't beat you up. Definitely smoother than a Canyon Aeroad in my experience. So 2 bikes down, one purely aerodynamic and one that's lightweight and smooth riding but not quite as aero. Okay, 2 bikes down, 4 more to go, right after a mention for today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform that makes building and launching a website in 2024 an absolute breeze. And trust me guys, building a website with Squarespace couldn't be any simpler. Even I can manage it, it's that easy. And now it's even easier thanks to Blueprint AI, harnessing the power of AI to help you build a website even quicker than before. Simply by answering a few questions, the AI determines the website for you just by using the answers you give to a few questions in a very easy and quick process. Once you've got your website looking just the way you want it, you can bring in the tools and plugins you need. From selling products, both digital or physical, selling courses and memberships, running a newsletter, blogging, running an online gallery, there are loads and loads of opportunities to run a website you need and want, with Squarespace doing all the hard work for you. And best of all, you can start right now with a free trial using the link down below in the description, and if you enjoy it, then 10% of your first purchase of a website or domain name, use my special code down below. Right, back to the fastest bikes you can buy in 2024. If you can't quite afford the Specialized Tarmac, then a giant Propel is a really good option. Giant bicycles are often labelled unfairly, I think, as being or lacking sex appeal or desirability, which is a bit harsh, I think, because the latest generation Propel is a smart looking bike, and thankfully one with better, smarter cable routing than the previous model, with a one-piece handlebar and stem on the top of the range model and a two-piece setup on the mid-range Pro that I rode last year. The Propel is also, in a similar vein to the Tarmac, a very lightweight bike as well. And the top of the range SL model with a Durace DIT group set weighs just 6.9 kilograms with the company's own Cadex carbon fibre wheels, including carbon fibre spokes. So a bike that is purely aerodynamic focused, but also very lightweight and nearly as light as the Tarmac SL8. So if you can get past the snobbery around giant and the desirability aspect, you are getting a fantastic high performance bike that really is a step above many others in this category, and all at a price that offers great value for money. The Cannondale Supersix Evo has, for the last 10 years or so, been a very popular choice and an easy bike to recommend. Does everything you want from a road race bike. But in my opinion, the move to an Aero frame design in 2016 wasn't the most successfully executed. But a new version launched last year, and which I reviewed very recently, is a big step in the right direction, and now puts it into the same company as all the other bikes in this video, and a bike I can happily recommend. This latest model is faster and lighter, 12 watts better than the old bike, and frame weight is down to 810 grams. But the complete bike I tested with lots of top-end components and a really high price tag weighed nearly 7.3 kilograms, which is a lot more than both a Propel and a Tarmac. So probably not the best choice if you live somewhere hilly or you're riding up and down mountains, but you still want that aerodynamic performance for flatter roads. There are lots of nice details on the bike. The cable routing is now much smarter than the old bike, and we have a great new system handlebar, a one-piece carbon handlebar with a Momo design on a top-end model, which looks fantastic and importantly feels really good in the hand. Nice shape. There is a new Lab 71 which sits above the high mod in the middle of the range, which offers a marginal weight improvement but a big price increase, and probably not worth the money if I'm honest with you. And even the pro team are riding the high mod despite being labelled as a Lab 71. But the paint jobs on the Lab 71 bike do look incredible. One other thing worth knowing, which might be a factor depending on your preference around tyre width, is while most race bikes now take up to a 32mm wide tyre like the Tarmac SL8, the Supersix Evo only goes up to a 30. The latest Trek Madone SLR, which is now in its 7th generation, it's been around for an awfully long time, is a bike that was met with lots of intrigue when it first launched just a little while ago, all thanks to a hole in a seat tube, what they call ISOFlow, to improve aerodynamics, lower weight and improve comfort. And sometime after the launch, all the issues and worries about structural integrity have proved not to be the case, and it's been a reliable and safe bike to ride. And a bike, when I rode it, that proved to be extremely quick. It felt way faster than many of the other bikes in this video, despite the numbers in the wind tunnel probably being within a few watts of each other. That sensation of barreling down a road on a bike was just amazing. Part of that down to the extremely narrow handlebar, 38-39 centimeters in the hoods with a slight flare to drops, and Trek, in their desire to save weight on the Madone because it wasn't the lightest bike in the world previously, have removed as much excess material from the handlebar as well. So a very extreme looking setup. So the bike is about 300 grams lighter than the old bike, which is very impressive at its top level of road race bike technology. But despite that, the bike is still quite heavy. If you call 7.3 kilos heavy, but it's quite a bit heavier than a Tarmac and a Propel. So lighter, yes, which is definitely good, but not as light as it could be compared to its rivals, and depends on where you place your priorities around aero and weight. Comfort of the Madone is very good too. Not as smooth as the old model and not as smooth as the Tarmac or the Supersix Evo or even the Propel in my opinion, but smooth enough to not batter you on a rough road. So most of the bikes so far I have ridden and reviewed right here at Just Ride Bikes. But we have one bike definitely worth mentioning that's on my radar to test very soon, which bucks a trend for extremely expensive aero bikes, and that is a brand new Van Rysel RCR, the latest in the Decathlon house brand, their French mega sports store outlet. So the RCR is a brand new aero race bike designed with a French aerospace experts and wind tunnel tested and being used by a pro team right now for validation and marketing opportunities. So the frame has truncated aero tube profiles as is common throughout the bike world, and it does look very similar to many other aero bikes in the category like a Tarmac or even a Supersix Evo, but that is just a way of aerodynamics and the design of working to the same set of UCI rules. And it's a bit like F1 in that they have the same set of rules, but they all end up looking very, very similar because they're one sort of natural, obvious design. We are trying to create a bike that's lightweight, aerodynamic, and comfortable as well. Now, I haven't ridden this new bike yet, but I'm very, very keen to make that happen, and it will be happening very soon. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to see that. And one of the reasons I'm really excited about riding a bike are the prices and the value of money. And the new Van Rysel RCR range will start from about $5,500 with a SRAM rival accent group set and some decent finishing kit like Zip 303S wheels. So it looks on paper like a really good bike, and some of the early reports and reviews coming in suggest the performance and handling do back up the impressive on paper stats. So a bike, if you're in the market for a more affordable aero bike, might be one to shortlist and get a test ride on very soon. But how fast are these aero bikes built purely for speed? Really? I mean, how do we know how fast they are? Most companies don't offer comparable testing data when they release new bikes. They might, if you're lucky, offer the benefits over previous models in terms of watts of drag saved and weight saved. And some might offer comparable data with other rival bike brands. But as with all aero testing data supplied by a brand, you have to take a hefty pinch of salt. And the only thing we have amounting to any sort of independent aero wind tunnel testing to give us a sort of leaderboard of where the bikes actually rank compared to each other is the sterling work done by German magazine Tour. And Tour magazine, if you've not come across them, have a history for developing testing protocols for bikes, whether it's stiffness, compliance, or now increasingly aerodynamics. And they put all the bikes they're getting for testing through a wind tunnel test, their own test. So worth taking that into account as well. And there are different ways you can test bikes, different setup protocols and so on. But in their testing, all the results on their website, I'll put a link down below. You can see that lots of bikes, and the ones I'm featuring here in the video, do fall within a small band of watts, often 10, 20, 30 watts, which isn't a huge amount. If you're a pro and you are obsessed with marginal gains, then that makes a big difference. But if you're a normal real-world cycling enthusiast, then a few watts here or there doesn't make too much difference versus your position on a bike and how baggy or tight-fitting your jersey is and all those other factors. And interestingly, the fastest bike they've ever tested in their wind tunnel is from a brand you've probably never heard of, the Simplon Pride 2, a small Austrian bike brand. And I reviewed one of their bikes when I was at Road CC when they were coming to UK. I'm not sure if they're still coming to UK, but it might be. But definitely a very small presence here in UK, that's for sure. But their aero bike is apparently the fastest bike in the wind tunnel testing done by Tour magazine. So we should all rush out and buy the Simplon Pride 2. Well, hold fire. The downside to that bike, as aero as they claim it to be in their testing, is that it's quite heavy. It's a lot heavier than rival bikes, and there is a rub. If you want speed, and that's all we care about, then a Simplon Pride, Canyon Aeroad, those sort of bikes are the ones to go for. But increasingly we are seeing improvements in weight and bringing aero bikes to the market that are now light, and as light or even lighter than bikes that were once a lightweight hill climbing bike, as the Tarmac SL8 is a great example of. A bike that manages to be as aero as pure aero bikes, but lighter than most of the bikes. So you can have a bike that won't hold you back on the flat and definitely won't hold you back on the hills. And yes, I know I haven't featured every single bike in this video, and I probably missed your bike, so let me know which one that is by leaving a comment down below. I've tried to give a considered viewpoint and opinion on the bikes I would happily recommend and shortlist if I buy myself, or recommending to a friend or a viewer or somebody following me on Instagram. They're trying to help you cut through the amazing choice there is in the bike world right now. And if you want to watch any of the reviews of the bikes featured in today's video, then watch the playlist right up here. And of course, don't forget to subscribe by hitting the button right here. But that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again very soon.